friends. So first things first, welcome to the real and raw me. I am trying something new. I am video recording and I'm going to be posting on YouTube and taking the audio and posting on my podcast. So if you are watching the video, I am sorry. I am a hot mess. I got laundry in the background. My lizard's running around somewhere in my room. I don't even know where she is. I got a new mic, so audio is kind of probably going to be weird. I am learning as I go. And I will be also reading some notes because I am not comfortable in front of a camera and I need my notes until I get comfortable. But I definitely wanted to get on and just rip off the band-aid and just do it because I've been, this vision that I'm working on and building has been several years in the making, and there's been a huge energy shift in the spiritual world. Like there's just been a huge cycle that just ended, and a new one is starting, and I'm just feeling all the energy from the transformation energy and all that stuff. So I am trying to just do it. So you're gonna be along for the ride. It's kind of a little fun experiment. I wanted to, post on YouTube and then take, the audios and stuff and disperse it to all the other platforms and stuff like that. Because I am a mom, I am a partner to two, I am polyamorous. So I have, multiple relationships. I have, multiple kids. We homeschool. I work full time and I am in school as a political science student, working toward my law degree and also trying to get an associate or bachelor. I haven't decided. I want to become a licensed ASL interpreter as well. A lot going on, but it does all fit together. You just gotta, subscribe and stuff to follow along to see how it all kind of plays out, because that could be a whole nother episode of what all I have planned and what all I want to achieve in this lifetime. So anyway, with all of that said, let's get started on today's episode. So please remember, I will be looking at my notes, okay? So hello, friends. Welcome to Civic Self, where activism meets self-care. I am your host, Heather, and this is a space where politics and personal growth intersect. In this podcast, we are going to be breaking down big ideas, big concepts regarding politics and having real conversations about them and just being raw and vulnerable with each other and talking about, things like democracy and identity, justice, and also combining in with mental health and healing and a sense of building a community. This world is increasingly more and more dehumanizing, and it's really hard to feel human in that. And, I'm a millennial, I'm 35, and I was talking to somebody one day and she said, I want to help. I want to do so much, but I just don't know what to do. And I'm so tired and I just don't feel like it's going to make any changes. And it hit me in the gut because it's so true. We are tired, especially the millennials. We've been through so much shit. We have been through so much shit. So many different wars, so many pandemics, a recession. We can't afford to live. We can't afford healthcare. We can't afford daycare. We can't afford to be a single family and or a single income family. We have, a lot going on, and every generation behind us is also feeling it because it's not getting any better. And it's not going to get any better until we change the structure of our politics. And part of that is getting the boomers out of office. I'm sorry. If you're a boomer and you're watching this, I'm sorry. But y'all got to retire and just move aside. Let us take over. I'm begging you, because this is a hot mess. And I know somebody's going to come for me, and that's fine. That's fine. Come for me. But until you live my life and you see my bills and how I can't afford to freaking live, and, my water heater just went out and we had to pick between, are we paying our car insurance or are we fixing our water heater? We ended up having to doing both. Obviously, we need both, but the universe was looking out for me and decided it was going to break our water heater on the month that I got 3 paychecks. So gratitude. just want to afford to live, okay? I want to have a savings account and I can't. And that is what this space is about, is to create a community for people that are just tired of just scraping by and being in survival mode their whole life, whether it's, mentally or physically or financially. It all affects who we are and how we show up for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. It's all here. And that's what this podcast and my channels and social medias are going to be about. I also want to be very real and vulnerable with you guys, because otherwise I'm just another content creator, and I don't want to be that. I want community. I want that feeling of belonging and inclusion and all of that. And I hope that this space that I am working to build creates that safety for you as well over time. So yeah, today I just kind of wanted to hop on and kind of talk to you a little bit about where I left off. So obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, this is new here, so you don't really know. But if you go and you listen to my podcast on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, you can listen to the few episodes I had already. Again, a beginner, not new or not very good, but hopefully I will as I go, and with consistency, I'll get better. Obviously, I wanted to talk about why I kind of stepped away. I had relaunched it. I was so confident that I was going to be able to keep up a consistent posting schedule. And there was a lot that I had goals for. And y'all, that last semester humbled me. Okay, it humbled me. Okay, so like the first semester, I nailed it. I did 16 credits. I nailed it. I did so good. I was so proud of myself. I was in a class that I shouldn't have been able to get into. My admission advisor, whatever. I don't know how we messed up, but we did. And I got in a level higher than I was supposed to be. And my first semester back and 13 years of no school, and it kicked my butt, but I nailed it. I did so good. I was so proud of myself. And then Christmas break happened, and I enjoyed those couple weeks off. I think a little too much, because I'm still navigating, like I'm retraining my system. Like I don't know what life is outside of working, 50 plus hours or more than one job. Now I have a partner that I'm able to finally receive help. That's part of my healing journey right now, is I am receiving and not just give, 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 give. And that has been a struggle in of itself. We'll talk about that more as time goes on. I'm still currently working with my therapist on it, but yeah, so it was all new to me, and I enjoyed that 2 weeks, right? Because I was like, oh cool. Like I think I was watching Grey's Anatomy. I restarted that over last July, and I started all over, and I caught up all 22 seasons. And I'm current right now. So if that doesn't tell you where my priority was this last semester, it was not with school. And that is part of it, is I felt that burnout. Being able to receive in years and years and years and years and years of just give, 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 and being in survival mode, and then finally trusting somebody to take care of me when I'm been the caregiver my whole life. It's been, it was, it's weird. It's hard. And I was in hella burnout. I was in burnout like a motherfucker. I'll tell you that. And I didn't, I don't think I even realized I was approaching that. So when I came into this, winter semester, for one, I hate winter time. I hate it. I used to love when it snowed. It's so pretty, and it still is pretty. I hate wintertime. I hate the depression that comes with it. I hate not having the sunlight. I hate how dark it is all the time. And when you work, 12-hour days, a couple days of the week, and you got school and you got all this thing. I literally leave the house at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't come home till midnight every single day, because when I'm at school, because I'm at school during business hours, I have to work on the weekends. So it's like this last semester, I think I had a total of 2 or 3 days, not counting the days that I got sick, because I did get sick a lot this winter, and I think I attributed a lot of it to burnout. Um, so yeah, when I came off winter break and started this semester, for one, I didn't start my reading stuff until after the semester started. So I started off behind. And I thought, because I only took 12 credits in the winter, because I was like, oh, 16 was too hard. And the load seemed like it was so much lighter. I got myself like, I couldn't get out of the rut all semester. Like the whole semester, I felt super behind. I felt rushed. I felt frustrated because there was nobody to blame but myself. Like Alex is working 2 jobs, so then I could cut back to 40 hours. Unfortunately, work if you work in the food industry, you get it. You go through these phases where things will be great for a really long time, and then all of a sudden you're, short staffed, and you just can't seem to get enough staff and keep enough staff because, again, nobody wants to work. Corporations don't want to pay for shit, and I will say that our corporation, I nothing but respect. They do a lot for us, but they're a small franchise and they don't pay a livable wage. Nobody does. And that's not on them. That's on corporations in general. Like that's on corporations in general. And I make decent money for what I do and for the support that I have. Like I make good money. I am compared to all the other places. I will not leave until I graduate, from law school and or quit before law school, because it's going to be almost impossible to be, first year law student and work full time, especially what I do. So this is the end of my food journey, and I appreciate them so much. So by no means am I shit talking my employer. However, it's a corporation. Again, uh, we aren't paid a livable wage, and that is partly why I'm here, why I'm talking, because it shouldn't hurt, like it shouldn't feel this suffocating to survive. You know, it shouldn't. And I know that I'm not alone in that feeling. I know that there's so many of us that feel that, and I think we are all exhausted in a way that's deeper than just I'm tired. Does that make sense? Like we are just every bone, every muscle in our body is just tired, and that is from built up tension and built up trauma, all of that. If we could freaking afford healthcare, maybe we could all be in therapy, and maybe we could, regulate better, and maybe things would go smoother. But we can't. See how it all loops? It drives me mad. So anyway, like I was saying, I think that society has normalized burnout so much and created this hustle culture, and that isn't a way to live. And I fell into that for a long time. Like I thought, if I worked harder, I could get up out of the hood where we lived. And I thought life would be great once I reached middle class. And I was like, yes, we make so much money that we have to do it on our own. Like that felt like a badge of honor. Then it felt like a badge of honor when I went up to salary, and I very quickly was knocked down a peg and dropped back down into reality, because that first year that I made, it was 20, I think it was like 2020 that I made a good chunk of money, because I was essential during COVID. And in order to keep the people that did keep showing up to work, me, hello, um, they paid really well. And I made a really good year in income. Like I made a little over $100,000, um, which is a lot of money from somebody that went from 30,000 the year before and survived. So having that jump, like it was wild. Like we took the kids on a vacation. It was great. Um, but it came at a cost. There was that burnout, that hustle mentality, that hustle culture that is so big. And I remember filing taxes that year, and I about shit my pants. Like my heart dropped to the ground because I jumped up the 2 tax brackets and I had to pay taxes. I had been claiming, however I claimed it. I don't know how I did it. Um, but I hadn't been claiming them right. And it didn't matter originally because I always had a refund. It might not have been the biggest refund in the last few years because I was gradually making more and more income. However, that huge jump hit me so hard. And that's when I really started paying attention to what it's like to be on the middle class. And I'm not saying like to be lower than middle class isn't hard, because that has its own struggles, but it does help when you qualify for food stamps or Medicaid. And we do not, like I do not. And it's been hard to navigate through all of that and figure out how are we going to pay our bills to survive, keep a roof over the head, because while we own our house, we pay lot rent for the land. And I always joke, like, we pay $1,000 a month for 3 blades of grass, and it's like in the 900s, the upper 900s, so for the lot, and that we still have to maintain ourselves. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, I think that just a combination of that, first semester back, and then hitting this realization that life sucks for a middle class person, that we can't afford anything. Like, all of that burnout all hit me this semester, which made it very difficult. And there was a quiz that I had in my logic class that I actually failed. Like, everybody except for 4 students, but he called them out, and they had to retest. And I never seen them after that class again, or after that retest. So I think that they may have been kicked out of that class. I'm not sure what happened to them, but every single person had failed that quiz. And when I got up to hand it in, I puked. I was so nervous. I was so upset because I was just so distraught about how bad. Like, I had never gotten a B until this last year. I'm sorry, I forgot I had this mic on. Sorry, guys. Um, I mean, I did when I was a kid, but like as I grew up a little bit and started taking my academics more seriously, I was an all A student. Like, I was an all A student. So I didn't like freak out when I got my first B, but this last semester I got a B again, and that one hit me way harder for whatever reason. Ironically, my logic, the one where I failed the quiz um in my logic class, though, that was my best grade. I got like a 98% in that total, like for the course total for that. I was pretty proud of myself. Hopefully, I do that well on the LSAT. Um, Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I kind of bouncing all over the place. I get nervous. I don't really like recording myself, especially with no filters. A lot of insecurities there. Working on that too. You'll hear more about that. But yeah, so basically, I'm just saying, like, humans aren't machines, right? Um, yeah, this whole, oh my God, I can't talk. This hustle culture teaches us to treat ourselves like machines. Little sleep, little food, go, 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 go. Like, wake up, repeat every single day. Like, I do not understand how people think it is realistic to work 8 hours or less a day to afford to live, also have somebody stay at home with the kids while also working out, while also taking care of your mental health, while also calling family and friends and keeping up on hobbies and keeping your house clean and grocery and meal prep and do all these things. Because whoever has that much ability to do that, God bless you, because that is not me. That is not 99% of the population, unless you are a rich billionaire who can pay out for this stuff. I don't think that you can. I think you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Um, and I think that especially for like students and parents and caregivers and just people that are giving all the time, burnout becomes, almost unavoidable. And, we're constantly pouring into everyone else around us. And we're convincing ourselves that we're a machine, that we are built to do it. And that we'll take care of ourselves later. And later never later never comes. And that is what wall I hit this last semester. And that is why it knocked me out. I'm going to be completely honest. I felt like I wasn't productive enough, and I felt guilty. And then if I rested, I felt lazy. If I slowed down, I fell behind. Like, I tried to, eventually stop and just be like, am I happy? Like, am I emotionally okay? Like, do I feel connected to my people around me, whether they be family or friends? And I realized that I didn't. There was a lot of disconnect from the things that I loved and the people I loved. And it all came down to this hustle culture. I had to go, 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 go because I had to, because I got kids, I got partners, I got a house that depends on me. I got a store that I'm, employees that I'm responsible for. I, step down. My boss is kind of running the show right now, and God bless her heart, because I would not have made it through this year if she was not in my store full time, or in her store, not full time, because it's not my store anymore. I don't know what I would have done without her. Well, working 6 days this last, all my semester. I still worked the full 48 because I couldn't be like, sorry, I know you're working 6 days, but I'd like to work less hours because I'm a baby. I couldn't do that. And she has enough of my respect, and she busted her ass so I could do as well as I did. And I got good grades. I got a B. I got 2 A's, but I got a B. That B really is upsetting me. It's really upsetting me. That professor was hard though, and I have him again next year, and I'm a little nervous because that is for a data analysis class, so I'm a little worried about that. But yeah, I started, asking myself, like, do I feel emotionally safe? Like, do I feel emotionally okay right now? Like, what can I do to stop this feeling from ever happening again? Because I never want to feel the way that I felt the day that I failed that quiz. I almost gave up. And I knew that, like, I knew that I was going to have bad days when I signed back up for school. Like, I had to jump through a bunch of hoops to go back to school. Alex picked up another job. He says it wasn't for me because we needed the extra money anyway, because again, you can't afford to live. And he has some things that he is working on as well. So he needed the second job anyway. But I still held a lot of guilt because I know that he may have already dropped it if it wasn't for me doing this. And he wants to give me that space to kind of take care of myself and to exist and to build this vision that I have for, not only myself, but for our family. And he has that faith that I can do it. And while I appreciate it, that day when I failed that test, I was ready to walk away, tell him to quit your job. Like, it's fine. I'm fine. I don't ever want to do this again. And, luckily I went into my next class after that class that I sucked so bad. And one of the girls that I got close to, she's like, "Are you okay?" And I just started bawling. Like, no, like, I knew bad days were gonna happen, but I just want to quit so bad. And she's like, "It's okay. It's just a bad grade. People get them all the time." I was like, "Thanks. That does make me feel a little bit better, but that's not me." But I finished, and I did okay. But yeah, and I guess the biggest thing that I've been working on throughout this semester is learning that in burnout, rest does not have to be earned. There's a lot psychologically that I could break down, and I'm sure that is going to be a future content or podcast episode. But I think that we all get caught up in this idea, especially if you are in survival mode and your nervous system is dysregulated and stuff like that. Rest feels like it should be a privilege. It needs to be earned. It's a laziness or it's failure, and it's not. Rest is essential. You can rest because you're freaking tired. You can rest because you need it. You can rest. You can rest. You don't need a reason to rest. It is not. It does not need to be earned. It does not need you don't need to feel like you fail. And that is something that has been so hard for me this semester, and it still is. And I am learning to be present and just take a moment to breathe and know that I am okay in that moment to do that, because I need to regulate and to break through of this burnout, because that's not serving me or my community or my people. And I know for a fact that I do have an episode coming up relatively soon about rest and how it is I'm fighting how I'm fighting that battle right now in my own life. So I don't want to go too deep into that yet, because otherwise I don't have an episode for that week. Um, so yeah, Civic Self, sorry, I'm going back to my notes. Civic Self has never really been about just politics for me. Um, it's about humanity, but also it's very, very relevant to include our politics, because we are never going to get out of this hellhole. Um, what did Trump call it? The swamp. We're never going to get out of the swamp unless we drain it. And that means the billionaires. That means the boomers. If you're watching this and you're a boomer or billionaire, sorry. This might not be the page for you, because I am tired. I am frustrated, and we are never going to fix everything that is wrong with our world, with our economy, with our system, unless we get rid of the people that are making the decisions, because they're not making good decisions. We need people that are millennials and or around that general time frame that are still working, like that are not freaking nodding off, falling asleep at all these meetings, or sending billionaires to represent them in a world meeting, because yeah, like we need representation our age and of our class, plain and simple, plain and simple. And nothing is going to change until we start electing people that reflect that. um, there has been a pretty big shift. I am seeing a lot of like progressives kind of gradually moving in. Mom Donnie is doing excellent in New York City. Love him. um, there's been a lot more shifts toward that way, because people see that it's not just little changes we need anymore. It's a whole system overhaul. We need a whole system. We need it all changed. And I think America is officially at its burnout. I think that it's not just me feeling it. It's not just us talking about it and feeling it. Like, America is at its burnout. People are exhausted. They're financially strapped. People, I think there's a statistic. I don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure there's a statistic basically saying that like you're one or two checks away from homelessness at all times. Like, what would happen? What would have happened if Alex and I weren't dating and it was just me, because Adam works from home? He doesn't really make a whole lot of money compared to what, like, the income that I bring in. He still makes money and he still does, what he can do to help while still being at home, homeschooling the kids, taking care of the home and stuff like that. But hear me out. Like, what happens if Alex didn't live here, and or we have multiple people in this home that all contributed financially, like my mother-in-law? Like, what would have happened if we didn't have all of us to replace a water heater? What would have happened? Like, luckily, like I said, it fell. I had 3 checks this month, so that definitely helped. What didn't help was I booked a flight down to Florida to go see my best friend the morning of that the water heater broke. It was only like $250. It was not that expensive, but in that moment, I felt like it was my fault because I bought a plane ticket. It's not my fault. It's the billionaire's fault, guys. It's the billionaires. It's the billionaire's fault. It is our government. It is greedy corporations. It is not making a livable wage. I bought myself a plane ticket to see my best friend because I deserve it. Not because I earned it, because I deserve to go and just be and just to exist. And I can't even do that without feeling guilty because my freaking water heater broke because I can't afford to live. And welcome to Civic Self. Anyway, if that's you right now, I see you. I feel you. You can see me crashing out. Um, Seriously, it's wild. And I think that one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves and, for each other is creating a space of just seeing each other and, creating a space where people feel like they don't have to perform um, to be validated and they don't need to be perfect. Like, healing is messy, you know, there's so much going on. You just need a space where you can just exist, no pressure. And I think that, I want this space to feel human, and I hope that we can all kind of feel it. Like, we'll have our crash outs, we'll have set, grounding sessions. Like, we're gonna get through it, yeah, let me see what else. So moving forward, I want Civic Self to keep growing into that space, where we can talk about all of it. And, politics, mental health, law school, activism, burnout, my volunteer stuff, volunteering in your communities. There's so much that you could do um, that requires very little time and effort, with giving you that feeling of civic duty, while maintaining your own mental health in the process. And we'll talk about all of that stuff, and talking about burnout, identity, community, and self-worth. And none of those things exist separately from the other. If you think about it, they all very much coexist with each other. And maybe that's the biggest thing that I learned this semester. You really just can't fight for the world around you if you don't fight for yourself and your own mental health, and without abandoning yourself in the process. And I think that's what we all do. But anyway, I think that should pretty much wrap up everything that I had to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining me in this space, and just existing alongside me while we kind of learn how to navigate through it. Again, hopefully as time goes on, these episodes won't be so chaotic. um, well, maybe they are. I'm kind of a chaotic person. I have chaotic energy. I'm ADHD. Yeah. Which I don't know if I took my Adderall today. Maybe that's why I've been rambling. I don't know. But yeah, uh, thank you again for joining me in this space and just existing with me while we learn to navigate life, health, and healing, and all the things. I'm really thankful you're here, truly. And whether you're listening to this while you're driving in the car, while you're studying, cleaning your house, whatever, however you're listening, however you're watching, um, I appreciate you for showing up. I see you if you are also in this space, and I hope that you remember that you do not have to navigate all of this alone, and you are a baddie. Okay, I promise. And you know what to do. Also, if like the if episode, or if you think that you're going to like it, and or you find value in anything that was discussed, and or you think that it will be discussed, please subscribe and share with your friends, your family, whatever you got to do. That is how we grow. I don't plan to pay for any kind of like ads or anything like that, so it's just going to be organically you guys, and pouring my heart into this because it's something that I am super passionate about and I'm very excited about. And if one person feels a little bit more grounded and feel like they can take care of their community because they have learned to take care of themselves, this page will have done what it was meant to do. And hopefully it's more than just one person. I would like a whole community, but yeah, I just want a community so we don't all feel so freaking alone right now. And yeah. But all my, I guess, last thing to say is all my socials and everything is going to be in down in the notes on whatever platform you're seeing it, wherever the notes are. That's where all my socials will be. Feel free to follow me. Very small following right now. Not a social media baddie. Not yet, anyway. Hopefully, maybe someday. We'll see. But yeah. Lastly, please remember that taking care of yourself is part of taking care of your community. I will say that over and over and over again. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I know, I know. As cliche as that sounds, I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot me. Um, Seriously, like, you are a baddie. So go out into your community and show up as your authentic self and shine bright. Okay, just be you. Show up. for your community, for your people. Uh, I guess that's all I really got. Just don't be a jerk. Lead with love always. And until next time, peace out, homies.